I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, Father. I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do.
Hey guys, and welcome to my world. Yeah, I still have toys. Nothing wrong with that. So, today I'm bringing you my review on Daredevil Season 1, a sort of recap before Jessica Jones drops this Friday. Let's get into that. But before we do, stay tuned to the end of the video to see how you can win this issue of Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. Let's get to Daredevil is a 13-episode Netflix original series brought to you by Marvel. So yeah, that makes it part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You heard me, this show is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All the good stuff like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, it's all part of that. And you get that from the references throughout this show. I mean, the incident is constantly referenced, which is what happened in the Avengers film. This incident is constantly referenced throughout the show. It plays an integral part in the funding of Hell's Kitchen, the rebuilding of Hell's Kitchen, motivation of the villain. This show really does stand on its own and doesn't really need the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be successful. It is a superhero show based on Marvel property Daredevil, but you can look at it as just a crime drama. It really is such a good crime drama. It really is. It doesn't even need to be a superhero show. It's so good. And the praise it is getting is so well deserved. It really is. It's one of the best comic book to screen adaptations I've ever seen. So producing this show was a bold step by Marvel because it is rated R, and I see why they did that, and I'm glad they did. They brought such gritty, realistic fight sequences to it, and they've taken a bold leap going from the sort of fun, light-hearted MCU, and this is the right direction for their more darker characters, their darker properties such as Daredevil, Punisher, even Ghost Rider could be a TV show with that rated R dark grittiness to it. So that would be cool to see, especially with Doctor Strange and that supernatural element round the corner. So yeah, Marvel make that happen. So the show opens up right after Matt Murdock's accident has taken place, where he's pushed a man out of the way from being hit by a truck, and therefore there's been an accident and chemicals are splashed over his face, causing him to go blind. This allows our hero a sort of heightened sense with his hearing, his smell. It gives him these special abilities. It doesn't make him super, I wouldn't say, it allows him to access other senses due to being blind. And it allows him to hear screams and stuff if he tunes in blocks away. He can smell aftershave on a different floor of a building. He can tell where things are. He can be in a room, tell where things are from air vibrations in the room. Put it this way, if Matt Murdock was in Seven, he'd know what was in the box. So the casting in this show is perfect. I mean, Charlie Cox as Daredevil and Matt Murdock, he really embraces both characters. He embraces the suit of the devil, but he really does ground him. He feels vulnerable. He feels human. He feels realistic. He doesn't feel too far-fetched that nothing's going to happen to him, because when Daredevil goes through what he goes through and the wounds he gets and the pain he's suffering, you really feel that sense of pain and vulnerability for the character, and you just can't help but just sort of get invested in him and just relate to him on a human level, because he's not a superhero. He's a vigilante. He doesn't have this superhuman strength. He doesn't have this healing factor. He's human. At the end of the day, he's human. He may have these heightened senses, but he's human, and you really, really feel his pain. So really I'm not a big Daredevil buff. I mean, I didn't really know much of the characters other than Daredevil, Kingpin, Bullseye, and Elektra. But after reading the Without Fear comic run of Daredevil, which I'll link in the description below if you want that review. But yeah, after reading that and getting to know Foggy Nelson in that comic run, and then seeing him on the show, the casting is so perfect. The casting of Eldon Henson as Foggy, it's spot on. It really is. I mean, not only does he look like Foggy Nelson, but his mannerisms and his humour is it's just Foggy Nelson. And the casting of the whole show, the casting of every character in this show is spot on. That is something Marvel does really well with their films, with their shows. Their casting is great, and that is one thing that I truly do trust in when it comes to Marvel properties. I really do trust their ability to cast. So talking about the cast members, their chemistry is perfect. I mean, Matt's and Foggy's is perfect. Matt's and Karen's, Foggy's and Karen's. It's just so... it's captured so well. It really is. Especially Foggy and Karen's. I really buy into their relationship. They bring the humour when they're both on screen. It is funny. Their quirky one-liners, their sort of banter, their chemistry is great, and I really want to see them get together. I don't know why, I just do. I really buy into their relationship. I mean, do you remember when they both got drunk in the series? Wanna go to the fish market? That moment had me. I was laughing, and yeah. Their chemistry. Having 13 episodes to set up these characters and set up this story arc is so well done. I mean, you get a character, you get sort of characters introduced every episode. I mean, episode 1 you get introduced to Karen Page, and that's all about fleshing her out, and she gets fleshed out as the show goes on. Episode 2 introduces you to Claire Temple, also known as Night Nurse. And then episode 3 you get introduced to Ben Urich. And yeah, this show it doesn't force it all into one. It takes its time introducing its characters. You get introduced to the villain, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, in episode 3, I believe. And up till then, you only get references to him. You get my employer this, my employer that, your employer. And he sort of, for the first few episodes, he has this sense like Voldemort towards him, like, you can't say his name, you mustn't say his name. He has this sort of mysterious dark shadow over him. Obviously fans of Daredevil are going to know who he is, and you get, even though you don't meet him, he's set up so well. I mean, you get these subtle little hints. I mean, they say the former crime boss Rigoletto has retired, and the way that line is given, and the way it just comes about, and the situation it's in, it just shows how powerful Wilson Fisk is, and just it sets him up so well, even though you haven't met him yet. Just he is my favourite part of this show. He's my favourite villain of the MCU, so thus far, he really is. Despite Loki being great and absolutely loving Loki, Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk is fantastic. So yeah, you've got these references to him killing people, and like, yeah, and it's just, then you first see him and he's calm and sort of nervous a little around this woman, and it really does take this villain and ground him, and it brings a sense of humanity around him. It makes him feel real, it makes him feel human, and this show did it a lot differently to other villains that we've seen throughout the years of oh, here I am, I'm the villain, bang, bang, bang. No, it didn't do that. It took him and it made the fight sequences in this are great. They're handled perfectly. They're well shot. They're well acted and choreographed. They're so good. I mean, over the past 2 years, the amount of action films that I've seen that have had shaky cam and the up close elbows in the camera fighting, this show isn't that at all, and I hate that, and I hate the elbows and the shaky cam. I hate it. But this show, it is. Oh, the fighting in this is brutal. It's bloody. It's down and dirty. It really is. It's so good. I mean, each episode has its fight sequence. You've got the episode 1, which is outside Karen Page's apartment, and that by far is my favourite fight sequence. I don't care. Above all, that is my favourite. Out in the rain. You've got episode 2's finale. You've got episode 3 at the bowling alley. That was so good. I mean, the bone snapping. Oh, it is down and dirty. It really is. It takes this MCU and well done, Marvel. Well done. I mean, another fight sequence that was handled perfectly was in episode 5, I believe, outside the taxi, where you've got the camera inside the taxi and Daredevil fighting outside the taxi, and it's just so well shot. I mean, these fight sequences are so good. So good. Literally so good. I cannot emphasise it enough. I mean, episode 2 where he's got the guy chained up on the roof and he's torturing him is... Damn! I mean, even Night Nurse, I mean, once she has that mask on, she becomes a badass. I mean, I don't care. When she comes up to Daredevil and that guy and she's like, stab him here, he's gonna feel it. Stay calm. It's so well done. It really gives the MCU that oomph, that dark, gritty, realistic fighting style that it needs instead of these spectacular battles. Instead of these spectacular battles with Iron Man flying around and then the Hulk smashing things up and all of that good stuff that we do love, it comes down a notch. It comes down to this dark, realistic fighting style, this Mortal Kombat where it's realistic, it feels real, it feels down, it feels dirty, it is so good. So like I said in my review of the Without Fear comic run, that captured Daredevil's emotional and physical vulnerability really well, and so does this TV series. It really does. It captures his emotional and physical pain, his vulnerability so well that you really feel his pain. It's not like other Marvel superheroes where you're like, he's gonna survive. He's not gonna die. You know they're gonna still be there. Whereas Daredevil, you're not so sure. You're like, you see him get beaten, you see him get stabbed, you see him just going through this pain, and he's just a man. If you haven't already guessed, my favourite character in this show is Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, his Kingpin. It is so good. This character is so well written. He is so well portrayed by Vincent D'Onofrio. So good. It really is. I mean, he's so well fleshed out, and they've finally done a villain right. Marvel have finally done a villain right, other than Loki, and I'm not going to even talk about Loki, but you've had Ironmonger, you've had Whiplash, you've had Ronan. They've not been fleshed out. They've just been there to service the story, and Kingpin in this is not that at all. He is so well portrayed, so well written as a character. I mean, he's so relatable. He feels human. Yeah, I've been rewatching this show for the past few days, and I was there talking to texting my best friend. Hey Harry, how you doing, bro? And I was like, oh, Kingpin is so good. He's such a great villain. And he was just like, he's serviceable. He's alright. And I was just like, what are you going on about? What are you talking about? He's amazing. He is great. He was like, oh, no, he's okay. He's okay. And I was like, no way is he just okay. And the biggest sigh. My friend was so busy binging Dragon Ball Z Kai Season 3 that he read my message wrong and thought I was bigging up Wesley. So yeah, I love Wilson Fisk. I love the Kingpin. Oh, you don't understand. I mean, I love villains. I love a great villain. And Wilson Fisk is a fantastic villain. I mean, he has so many great scenes in this show, but the one that stands out to me the most, and the one that is the most impactful, and the one that is my favourite scene with him in, and it's not even a fighting sequence, it's not him going up against Daredevil, it is not him with the car door, and don't get me wrong, that is great, that was a great scene, but my favourite scene is when he's in the restaurant with Vanessa. It's when the Russian comes in and all these bodyguards just stand up, and you've been watching that scene thinking they're just normal people, normal average people, and you get tens of people stand up. It just emphasises his power, that Wilson Fisk's power and how much he has. That is my favourite Kingpin scene. I don't care. That is my favourite Kingpin scene. I mentioned the car door, and that scene that shows his physicality. It shows his It shows you. It doesn't just show you how powerful he is physically and how he can overwhelm people. It shows you how emotional he is and how emotionally unstable he is and how he deals with his emotions. I mean, being rejected by Vanessa. It just all came out. It all came out in that scene, and he let loose. He just bang, 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 and the head is off. I mean, can you imagine seeing that in... I keep pointing up there, that's where Marvel films are, they're over there. But yeah, can you imagine seeing that in Iron Man? No. Can you imagine seeing that in Captain America? No. Can you imagine seeing it in the Avengers? No. Can you imagine seeing it in Guardians of the Galaxy? No. But Daredevil, you see someone's head get chopped off by a car door. And then you see the body later on in a few episodes with the jagged neck. Oh. I'm so glad that Marvel took this leap and just went out on a limb and excuse the pun, they went out on a limb and they made it so good, and it was such a good choice to make it rated R and go on to make it a TV show as well. It was such a good risk to take, and it has paid off so well. Yeah, I went off on a tangent there, but our main villain, Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, he feels human. I mean, throughout the show, you get these layers introduced to him, and they do really well flesh him out, and he has all these layers, and you can't help but relate to him and just look at him and be like, right, I understand the way you are, and I understand why, and do you know what? I probably would have done the same thing. I see my dad beating on my mum, I'm going to go and hit him. Do you know what I mean? He's so relatable, and you understand why he is the way he is. And this show is so well written. I can't emphasise it enough. It's so good. He's not just a villain like, oh, I'm the villain, here I am, woo! I'm going to go do some villainous stuff. Yeah, he's not that. He has all these emotions, and sometimes he's not in control of said emotions. And I mean, you get loads of films and TV shows have had that villain that just wants power and just wants to own everything and has lots of money. And I mean, you don't even get a sense of the money Kingpin has. I mean, you obviously know he's got money because he's got these people around him, but they do it so subtly. I mean, they don't throw it in your face that I'm rich, I'm this, but I mean, the moment that shows it off the most, and it's still so subtle, is when he's asking that cop how much each of the 35 years are worth. Each year is worth. That moment where he's just like, how much is each year worth to you? It shows how much money he has and the power he has, and it's still so subtle. It's not in your face, it's not forced down your throat, and this villain is amazing. It really is. He's so Another good. Thing this show done well is, in a lot of things, the hero and the villain are on different ends of the spectrum. I mean, you've got the villain and the hero down at opposite ends. But this show, they're not that far apart. There's a line, but they're not. It so just different. Shows you how they're both trying in their different ways to save Hell's Kitchen, and just how blurred the lines are for the hero and the villain. It takes them and it just throws them in this pit of just relatableness, and just you really see Kingpin's view and you really understand Daredevil's, and yeah, the lines are so blurred. It's so good. The show handled it so well. Instead of just having them on opposite sides of the spectrum of good and evil, this show blurs the lines of good and evil, and it's handled so well. If David Tennant's Purple Man is even half as good as Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, then we are well in the running to having another amazing show. Jessica Jones could well be another amazing show if the villain is half as good. That's how good Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is, and I cannot wait to see David Tennant as a villain in a Marvel TV show. Oh, I'm so excited for Jessica Jones, I really am. This Friday, guys. So my favourite episode, it's so hard to choose. Every episode has their moments. I mean, you've got the rooftop scene in episode 2. You've got all the fight sequences in all of them are just so good that you could be like, that's my favourite episode. But personally for me, it's episode 8. That episode was so good. The way it fleshed out its villain, it fleshed out Wilson Fisk so well that I absolutely loved that episode. I mean, the bit with his dad and the bully was so well acted, so well written, so well shot. And then the bit at the end with Wilson and the hammer, and it shows you why he likes the painting and why the painting makes him feel alone. Oh, it's so well. The tie-ins. Oh, it's so good. I'm just going to sit here and nerdgasm for a bit. Another thing that this episode did so well was it highlighted the conflict within Wilson. I mean, the scene where he's talking to Vanessa and he's just like, I don't want to be my father, I don't want to be a monster. And then he turns around and it comes out of nowhere, he's just like, am I a monster? And you really feel the conflict within him, not wanting to be the man his father was, but wanting to be his own man, and the conflict of or am I a monster? It's just, it highlights it so well of the emotional instability he has and the conflict within him, and it's so good. So just to recap, we saw Ben Urich die, we saw Nobu die, we saw Madame Gao leave to a place further than China, her hometown, and she's mysterious as it is. I mean, she dropped Daredevil in one punch. She's a mysterious character. I think she's going to tie into the Iron Fist story, especially with the Steel Serpent logo on her heroine. But we'll see about that later on. What else did we see? We saw Wilson Fisk go to prison. We saw Wesley die. We saw Leland Owlsley. We also see Daredevil get his red suit finally. And I'm glad they held back on that and didn't give it to him straight away. I'm glad they incorporated Frank Miller's black attire from his version of The Man Without Fear. We also see Foggy, Matt and Karen, the law firm growing. We see that at the end. We also see Stick talking to a mysterious man about a coming war, which I believe will be between Nobu's clan, who want revenge. I believe they're the Hand, and Stick's clan, which will probably come to Hell's Kitchen. We also have to remember a few people now know who Daredevil is. We know Stick knows, we know Claire Temple, Night Nurse knows, and Foggy also knows. We know Foggy knows Matt's Daredevil. So, what's to come? We've got Jessica Jones coming, who's going to introduce Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. It's going to add to that lead up to the Defenders. We've got Punisher coming in Daredevil Season 2, and I cannot wait to see that. I cannot wait to see the Punisher. I really cannot wait to see how Shane from The Walking Dead portrays the Punisher in this, and how well they write the Punisher for the Season 2 of Daredevil. I really can't wait. Frank Castle. We also have the Iron Fist TV show coming. Don't know when that will be. Don't know when the Luke Cage TV series will come. But we know they're going to come. We know that's all going to lead into the Defenders, which is Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. So on a whole, Daredevil was an awesome time. Highly recommend checking it out. It did what Ant-Man did. And by that I mean it took the MCU from a global scale and it made it a tight-knit story. Ant-Man did that. It was more personal. It made it, and so did Daredevil. Daredevil is a more personal story. It's not a global scale. It's in his hometown. He just wants to do right by his hometown instead of saving the world. Daredevil on a whole is a great superhero show, but it could stand alone as a crime drama as well. And I highly recommend checking this out. If you have seen it already, then go watch it again. If you haven't, go watch it for the first time. You will love it. Competition time, guys. So, if you've waited this long to see how to win this, thank you for watching the Daredevil review. Basically, I want this to go to one of my subscribers. So, be a subscriber. All you need to do is like this video and then let me know down in the comment section below what your absolute favourite moment of the TV series was. Let me know why, and then I will go through the comment section. I'll pick my favourite comment, and I'll let you know who the winner is and who I'm going to send this to in my Jessica Jones review that will be coming after that drops Friday. And I'll direct message the winner as well as letting them know in the Jessica Jones review, so keep an eye out for that. And as always, thanks for tuning in, guys, and take care. See you later.